Welcome to the How to Survive a Horror Movie podcast, where we learn how to survive horror movies and maybe how to survive life. I'm your host, Ryan Stacy, and today we're playing a game again. We're playing a game, motherfucker. We're talking about 2021's Spiral from the Book of Saw.
You want to play games, motherfucker? All right, I'll play.
The 9th movie in the Saw series. I'm joined by our Saw correspondent, Jake Johnson. Jake, how you doing?
Stacy, I am once again doing fantastic.
That's good. We just watched Spiral.
Yep, just got done with it.
Your first time watching it?
Yeah, first time ever. Never really saw it. Didn't really know the premise, if it was like a soft reboot or if it was like a story continuation.
Sure.
But yeah, had a heck of a fun time watching it, and can't wait to dive into it.
Yeah, it's what did you think of the movie?
I liked it. I thought it was definitely a stronger performance from a Saw movie that we've seen in a while.
Sure.
I definitely put it up in like the top half of the Saw movies, I would say. Yeah.
I would say top 4. I think Saw 2 is my favorite.
Yep.
Far and away. But then Saw 6, and Spiral, I think those 3 could go in any order.
I think Spiral was more well acted than like any of the Saws before.
Definitely the best acted one in the series.
It had a lot of more tension than I was expecting it to have throughout the movie.
It feels like a real movie.
Yeah, it feels like a movie, and you almost forget it's a Saw movie.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, it feels a little bit like Seven, but it is a Saw movie.
Yes.
That's what's really fun about it, because we weren't sure how Saw-like it was going to be when it came out, because it's Spiral, it's not Saw.
Yeah.
But it is a Saw movie.
Yeah, it is a Saw movie through and through. Yeah, it definitely doesn't have a feel of like Saw, especially the campiness of
this
what
is
Saw has
high
become.
budget.
Yeah, this is very high budget, very good.
It's got Chris Rock, it's got Samuel L. Jackson. It's really good. If you like the Saw movies, I highly recommend you check this one out.
Yeah, the story's compelling. It's topical.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Arguably the most topical one.
Yeah, definitely. So,
damn. What's crazy is this movie was made before George Floyd.
That's true.
So that's wild.
That is interesting. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, that's true.
So spoiler alert for Spiral coming up. If you've not seen it, go watch the Saw series. And if you're interested in the Saw series, if you like the Saw movies, check out Spiral if you haven't seen it. If you don't like the Saw movies, you probably won't like this one. Spoiler alert for Spiral. You've been warned. The point of this podcast is we are trying to create a master list of rules to survive any and all horror movies, and we're going to go through the plot of this movie beat by beat, decision by decision, to see if we need to add any new rules to our current list of 57 rules, which you can check out on our Twitter account at How2Horror. That's how2 horror. So, like I said, spoiler alert for Spiral. Jake, anything else before we get started here?
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
it's been a hot minute since I've been on the podcast.
Yeah,
I'm excited to be back.
Hell yeah, dude.
And can't wait to get into it, man.
All right, let's get into the plot of Spiral. Dun, dun, dun. So the movie begins, it's a 4th of July carnival in random city in the United States. Still don't know which city it is. We meet Detective Boswick, who is played by, those of you who are fans of Letterkenny, McMurray. Yeah, these characters have nothing in common besides that. He's a corrupt cop. He's a detective, and his big thing is he lies on the stand all the time. Like, under oath, he lies and gets innocent people put away. So he is a corrupt cop, and he is off duty. He's just enjoying the carnival until he sees a purse thief snatch a purse and take off running. So he goes after him. This purse thief runs down into the sewer. Do not go into the sewer after a purse thief.
Yeah, it's after a purse.
Like, who cares? Like,
it's a purse, man.
Like, yeah, you're doing your job. You're getting the purse, but you're doing your job. You're going after this purse thief, but you don't go down into a sewer for a purse.
No, you gotta take a step back and think, what's the cost on this purse?
Cost to benefit ratio.
Yeah, what's the cost benefit? What's my ROI? What's my return on investment on this? If I go down into the sewer for this one purse, is it worth going down into a sewer, potentially dying?
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows what the hell's down there? Could be a trap.
Yeah.
Because it is.
Yep. It ends up being a trap. But
and if you're going to do this, at least call in some backup and wait for them. Rule 12, wait for backup.
Oh, yeah. This movie is riddled with rule breaking.
This is the big Rule 12 movie. Like, this is unbelievable how bad this is with the wait for backup thing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Almost every character in this movie violates this rule.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be saying Rule 12, wait for backup a lot. So, Detective Boswick goes down in the sewers, tracks down the guy. Oh, wait, it's a mannequin. Gotcha. Rule number 2, constant vigilance. He gets grabbed from behind by Pighead.
Yep, Pighead.
Pighead's back. This has some meaning this time. The pig theme of the Saw movies is really going to come into play hard in this.
Yeah, the whole pighead of it.
It's really interesting. So Detective Boswick wakes up. He is in a trap, and he is in a subway tunnel, and like he's standing on a small step ladder. He's suspended from a chain that's attached to his tongue, and he's dangling in this subway tunnel. And basically, he has to rip his tongue out if he wants to not get hit by a subway.
Yep.
And this is because, he used his tongue to lie.
Yep. So he has to jump off of the step stool and kind of let his body weight rip his tongue off.
Yep. That's what he's got to do to survive. So what we always do with the Saw movies is we have 2 things to talk about. First, like, what did they do wrong before the trap, and then after the trap.
Mm-hmm.
So getting into this trap, first of all, don't be a menace. Don't lie on the stand.
Yeah, don't be a menace.
Rule 4.
A lot of Rule 4 breaking.
Rule 4 breaking. Oh my god. And then, of course, not waiting for backup. But now that he's in the trap, okay, fucking jump.
Yeah, it's a tongue. You got a lot of tongue.
Yep. He stands there for like 2 minutes trying to like get loose or something, but he doesn't jump in time.
Yeah, he could have this was an easy trap.
Yeah.
You just
it's gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt, but you just gotta jump and then you're free.
Yeah.
There was sides on this. I even wrote notes. There was a side on each side of the track that he could have gotten to.
Yep.
And been safe.
Rule number 28 is run, bitch, run.
Run, bitch! Run!
And this is jump, bitch, jump. It just basically means move your ass.
Yeah.
Just do your thing.
Yeah. Drop, bitch, drop.
It's gonna suck, but you gotta do it. But he's not gonna do it until like the last second, and in midair after he's jumped off, he gets hit by the subway.
Oh, just gets smooshed.
Yeah.
It's quite fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, so he did end up, in the end, there was really no reason for him to even do that in the first place because, the end result is him getting smooshed like a bug.
Yep. But that is the end of McMurray from Letterkenny. So we meet our main protagonist, Detective Zeke Banks, who is played by Chris Rock. Zeke is a good cop. One of the only ones of this movie.
Yeah.
He is the only one who really stands up to his fellow officers. And this movie's a little bit nonlinear. It reveals stuff. It jumps around in time a little bit. It's classic Saw. But
you're telling me a Saw movie is jumping around the timeline?
So we're just going to kind of ignore that. We're just going to talk about stuff instead of leaving the mystery out there. So basically what happened is Zeke was partners with a guy named Pete. And Zeke was like outside or down the hall when Pete was talking to a witness one day. And basically, this witness had seen a cop doing something bad, like tossing a guy off a roof or something like that.
Some shady shit.
Yep. And this guy was willing to testify that, I saw a cop do this. Well, Pete, who was also a corrupt cop, is like, well, we can't have that. Shoots and kills the witness.
Yeah, point blank.
Plants a gun on the scene, and he says, like, yeah, the witness pulled a gun on me. And Zeke's like, the witness pulled a gun on you. Okay.
Yeah.
And reports him.
It doesn't track.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
A witness would pull a gun? That doesn't make any sense.
So Zeke turned Pete in. Pete gets arrested. Corrupt cop. So all the other cops in the department kind of turn on him. So Zeke doesn't trust any of these police officers because he's a rat, apparently.
Which
Fuck
is
all of these people.
But it's a real loose term of rat. Normally you think of like when a police person is a rat, normally you think of them as working with like the mob.
Sure.
Something like, shifty, shady. You don't think of them as upholding the law and turning in fellow cops.
Like, oh no, this guy turned in a cop who murdered someone.
What an asshole.
Rule 4, don't be a menace. So fuck all of these other cops in this movie.
Yeah, these cops are dog shit.
Yeah, it's garbage. So what ended up happening is, while out on a call, Zeke called in for backup because he was getting shot at. And the cops did not respond to the call.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, fuck them.
Yep.
And so Zeke got shot on duty because the other cops didn't have his back.
Mm-hmm.
Zeke, you might want to move to a new city.
And then Sam L. makes a great appearance in Pistol Whips.
Yep.
One of the other officers.
Detective Finch.
Detective Finch, yep.
So Samuel L. Jackson was the former chief of police. And so when he found out Zeke, his son, got shot, he beat the crap out of the cop who didn't respond. Detective Finch.
So there's a lot of bad things going on in this police, in this precinct.
Here. So nowadays, since Zeke doesn't trust any of these other cops, he goes undercover on his own without telling anybody. So he is undercover as part of a robbery. They rob some drug dealers.
Yeah.
But at the end, some other cops come in and arrest them all. And they're like, wait, Zeke, what are you doing here? And it's because there's no communication between the police officers that led to this weird mix-up.
Mm-hmm.
But Zeke's like, yeah, fuck you guys. I'm not going to have any of you come with me on these missions.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Rule 24, trust no one.
Everybody's a suspect!
Yeah. You're like not even in a horror movie. You're just in like a cop drama.
Yeah.
So the captain is pissed. Captain, I think her name is Angie. Captain Angie.
Okay. Yep.
She is also corrupt. She covers up stuff. Mm-hmm. But she's pissed off at Zeke, so she assigns him a partner. And we get Detective Schenk. He's a new cop. He's 24, fresh out of the academy, but like really
Young
good cop.
stud.
Young stud. And so he's going to be Zeke's partner. Spoiler alert: Detective Schenk is the killer.
Dun dun dun.
He is behind everything because the witness who was murdered by Zeke's partner Pete, that man, was Schenk's father. So Schenk is fucking pissed at the cops, but he likes Zeke because Zeke, did the right thing.
Yeah, Zeke turned his partner in, and
so Schenk does this big long con to become a cop, to become Zeke's partner, so that they can like clean the police department. That's his whole plan. He wants to get rid of all the dirty cops.
who do you think's got a longer con, Shank or Sawyer from Lost?
Shank.
I mean, yeah.
Last like 12 years.
Well, didn't Sawyer also have a real long con from like
6 months?
Yeah, I suppose.
Shank blows him out of the water. But obviously, this is Saw. We don't find that out, or the Saw series. We don't find that out till the very end. So the whole time we're led to believe Shank is a good guy. He's got a family, the wife and kid. No, none of that.
We're even led to believe he dies.
Yep. But we'll get into all that. So Zeke and Shank, they're sent to investigate this subway incident. Definitely just a homeless guy getting killed, right?
Yeah, definitely. Nothing nefarious about this.
But what ends up happening is Zeke gets a package in the mail. It says, it's a USB. It says Play Me on it. So I love this. Zeke's like, well, I don't want to fuck up my computer. So Shank, move over. We're going to use your computer to watch this.
Yeah, that's a great... Yeah, like when I first saw him put it in, I was like, what is he doing? He's putting it in the computer. Doesn't that to be like safety protocols? But no, he put it in someone else's computer. So.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny.
And it's from this new copycat Jigsaw killer. His goal, he's like, it's time to reform the police. I tried to reform Detective McMurray from Letterkenny, and he wouldn't do it. So, rip. There is this video shows the courthouse, so that all the cops go check out the courthouse. There's another package there. Inside the package is Detective Boswick's tongue and his badge. So Detective Boswick is dead. All police officers, rule number 1, you are in a horror movie.
Yep.
The first rule describing a horror movie is you have to know you're in one. Serial killer targeting cops. You guys are all in a horror movie.
Yeah, every single cop.
Yep, all of them. And they know it, I think, but they don't... They should be better from here on out.
Yeah, nobody really audibly says, like, hey, we got to watch our backs. But, yeah, that's kind of what everyone has to be doing.
Captain tries to give the lead of the case to a guy named Detective O'Brien, who's not really that important. He's there. But Zeke demands it because, he was the first officer on scene, and Boswick was his friend.
Mm-hmm.
So he manages to convince the captain to give him the case. They go pay the respect to Boswick's wife and get some of the iPad and some of his tech and stuff. Zeke goes home that night to his apartment and finds the door open. Rule number 5, lock and load. He draws his gun.
He does draw his gun. He's very smart about that. Follows rule 5.
Inside, he finds his father, who is the landlord of the building, former Chief Marcus, played by Samuel L. Jackson. I'm just tickled pink that Samuel L. Jackson is in a Saw movie.
Oh, yeah. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved him in it.
He doesn't have a ton of screen time,
No.
but he makes the most of it.
His character is, I don't know, it's not very multidimensional, but, he himself plays the role just perfect.
It's angry Samuel L. Jackson in a Saw movie. What else do you need?
Yeah, what else do you really need? Maybe a snake on a plane.
So the cops start investigating the case as they do. And they realize Boswick was at the 4th of July parade, and they realize 2 of the city's cameras were broken. Like the public cameras that they use for this kind of stuff. They were broken. So they send Detective Fitch and Detective Krause out to check, investigating it. Detective Fitch, we mentioned earlier, he's another one of the corrupt cops. He's the one who did not respond to Zeke when Zeke got shot. So this guy fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Detective Krause is a nothing character. She's in the movie. That's about all I got for her.
Yeah, she doesn't really have much.
Yep. So she might not be corrupt. Don't know. But yeah, they go out and they're going to go check it out, try and find, and they end up getting to a pawn shop that has a camera, and then they manage to find some useful footage on there. But meanwhile, Marcus, Samuel L. Jackson, we get a scene of him just going off on his own with a gun and entering a spooky warehouse.
Yeah, randomly out of nowhere.
Yep. And we'll come back to this, that we don't really get anything about this again until, like, near the end of the movie.
Basically right at the end.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson disappears for a long time, and then he doesn't really show up again until the third act. Besides flashbacks. He's in a couple of flashbacks. But anyway, Detective Fitch figures out, like, the guy who was being chased by Detective Boswick was a local junkie by the name of Benny. So Benny was the guy who stole the purse, ran down into the sewer. And Fitch knows Benny, so Fitch is like, hey, Krause, why don't you go back to the station and do whatever? I'm going to go talk to Benny. Rule number 19, don't split up, gang.
Let's split up and look for clues.
Seriously.
He's going to go visit this junkie who lives in this abandoned warehouse somewhere, alone.
Yeah, no, that's just, no. Never a good idea.
And he also takes a gun from the pawn shop without paying for it. He just takes it. And so the implication there, he's going to shoot him. Mm-hmm. So Fitch is going to go kill this guy.
Yeah, that was the implication. Also, very interesting how they just have a gun on the wall with a magazine, with bullets in said magazine. And it's like, oh yeah, here, I'll grab that.
Yeah. Rule number 4, don't be a menace.
No. I mean, I suppose lock and load, but I mean...
Yeah, I mean...
We don't want him to be locked in.
You can bring your own gun and do things by the book and try and take him in with backup, and if he, like, tries to kill you, then you shoot him.
Then you shoot him, yeah.
A proper procedure. But no.
Not a lot of proper procedure in this movie.
No. So Fitch is going to go over there, and Benny's not there. There's a pig mask laying in his mattress. So he tries to call some other cops. Nothing gets through, but he gets distracted by this and gets captured by Pighead. Rule 2, constant vigilance.
Yeah.
Fitch is fucking terrible.
Oh, just awful.
So Fitch is going to wake up in a trap, and we're not going to see what happens right away. We're going to come back to it, but we'll just talk about what happened to him now, because why not?
Okay.
He wakes up in a trap, and his fingers are in these, like, weird net things. And basically, he has to clamp his jaw down on these metal bars, and it'll activate a machine that will rip his fingers off.
Yeah, really in a slow, painful, torturous way.
Basically, why Fitch was selected is because he pulled over some kid one night, some teenager, and the kid gave him the finger when he asked, like, I can see your driver's license identification and whatever. Kid gives Fitch the finger. So Fitch pulls out a gun and shoots him.
Seems like a justified response.
What the fuck? Don't be a menace.
Yeah, don't be like, everyone in this movie is a menace. They should all be named Dennis.
So for this poor kid who got shot, Rule 43, tread cautiously when dealing with the police.
Yep.
You shouldn't get shot for giving a cop a finger, but you never know when you're going to run across a crazy, corrupt cop.
Yeah, seriously.
So I can't recommend giving the cops the finger as much fun as it is. So Fitch has to hold this thing down to get his fingers off, and he can't quite do it for long enough because it's too painful. So some of his fingers get ripped off, but not all of them.
I think he had about 8 of them off.
Yeah. And then he gets electrocuted to death because he just couldn't get out in time. So Fitch is dead. It's basically the same thing for Boswick.
True. This one I had a little more difficulty because I started to realize, as the fingers are getting pulled out, so you got to scream. You got to have pain. But the whole bit is you got to have your jaw clamped down. And so, I mean, like, you can obviously, through the teeth. But
harder trap than the first one.
I would say it's a significantly harder trap. But, I mean, one that still you just have to do the thing and then just let it happen.
You just got to grit your teeth, literally.
Grit your teeth and bear it.
Yeah. It's another thing where, like, this is going to fucking suck. Yeah, Rule 45, you just got to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And then, he should have gone here with backup. Maybe he wouldn't gotten captured and killed. That's the real big one for him, is he just went off on his own to do this. So Fitch is dead. The cops don't know this yet. We'll get back to that. So Zeke goes in to talk to his dad. His dad's missing. Not there. Not that big a deal. It's a day.
It's been a day, yeah. Well, and we've also kind of had some exposition between the two where it seems like their relationship is strained.
They don't hang out much.
No.
So, not that weird. They don't see each other very often. So, they get another package at the police station, which leads all the cops to the area where Fitch had that shooting. They find a dead pig inside the car, like a little real pig.
Actual pig.
And another box. This one has Fitch's fingers and the badge. And they managed to track down the crime scene for Fitch. Fitch is confirmed dead. Good riddance. And at this point, people are suggesting Zeke might be the killer because he had problems with Fitch.
Yeah, that seemed like a far-fetched stretch, even for the cops that didn't like him.
So, Detective Krause passes on the information. They're looking for this guy, Benny. So Zeke and Schenk go to a drug house where they know Benny gets his meth. They put a paint bomb in a little bucket that the drug dealers used to take the money up and then send the meth back down. to distract the drug dealer, so the bomb goes out in his face, covers it with paint, and then they
Oh my gosh, I love that scene.
It was really funny.
Like, we got 10 seconds.
But then, like, Zeke, he gets a little corrupt, and he kind of just beats this drug dealer for information.
Oh yeah, he just taps on his open wound.
Yep.
He pours alcohol in the wound. It's just he starts getting a little out of hand.
Rule 4, don't be a menace, Zeke. But they learn that Benny has been missing for a couple of days. The rumor is he OD'd, and Zeke's like, yeah, that tracks, because you don't just quit meth.
Yeah.
You're not showing up to get more meth, well, you're probably dead.
Yep. Or you're moved away or something, but
Yeah.
you're most likely dead.
Most likely dead. You know, meth will do that to you. Don't do drugs, kids.
Except meth.
Except meth. So Zeke and Shank are wondering, like, hey, is this specifically about Zeke? Like, does this have something to do with Zeke? Is it an enemy of Zeke? So they go back and visit Pete, the cop who shot the man. And they try and they get some information out of him. It's kind of a dead end because he's out of prison. He works in a church as an AA alcohol
Lives in the basement.
Alcohol Anonymous advisor, lives in the basement of the church. And this is where we get all the information about Pete and what he did. But Zeke still can't get a hold of his dad. Maybe report it.
Day 2 now. I mean, 48 hours is the term, right?
Yeah. Maybe report it, you know, being a police officer and whatnot.
Yeah, maybe just send out an APB.
Courier arrives at the police station with a box. They clear the station, except for O'Brien, the captain, and Zeke. Inside is a puppet and some skin with a tattoo of the name Charlie on there, which is a tattoo Detective Shank had because of his son Charlie.
On his arm.
And there's also a bottle of paint from an old paint shop. It's now a butcher shop, but it used to be a paint shop that Zeke and his dad used to go to. They go to the scene, and there's a dead body that has been skinned alive there. And you know, we're supposed to think it's Detective Shank. It's actually Benny, the meth head. But yeah, Shank fakes his death. He actually tattooed Charlie onto Benny after he killed him. And the tattoo is, again, of Shank's father. But yeah, this is kind of sloppy. I thought it was like, this is obviously Shank.
Yeah, it didn't really make much sense when I was watching this. I was like, well, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
It really, so for Benny, it's really hard to say what he did wrong besides being a menace.
Yeah, or a meth addict.
Yes. So was he promised more meth to do this stuff?
Don't get greedy.
Okay. Rule number 4, don't be a menace. And then rule number
44,
don't get greedy.
Don't get greedy with your meth.
Yes. Beyond that, it's hard to say what he did because we don't see his actual death on screen.
Yeah, we really don't.
He was killed and then he was skinned alive. Or, no. How does it make sense?
Killed and skinned alive.
Yes,
I like
yes.
that. Yes.
I like that a lot. He was killed and then skinned, so we don't know. There's not enough information for Benny beyond being a menace and being greedy. So, whatever. Then, call goes out. Officer down. So the cops converge on this location. There's an officer who got a few slices by Pighead just in the middle of broad daylight. So this is basically distracting the cops. Meanwhile, back at the police station, the captain gets a text from Samuel L. Jackson, Marcus, saying like, hey, I got an idea. Go check out Cold Case File 97 whatever. And she's like, oh, okay.
Good idea.
Going down to Cold Case Files. Everyone else is distracted. She gets down there. It's a trap.
Yeah, rule number 33, never assume you're safe.
Yes, it's true.
I will say, though, she does follow rule 51, tell people where you're going.
Yes.
So she does follow that rule.
Yep.
I give her praise for that.
So when Zeke does figure out what's going on, he finds her fairly quickly. But the problem is she gets down there and sees Pighead and then tries to run away. Okay, rule 11, get out.
Get out!
Yep.
Door slams shut, she's locked in. Another option would have been just take the fucking shot, just open fire.
Oh, I know.
Rule 22, take the shot. But then there's like gas grenades, smoke grenades going off to knock her out. Yeah, she, like you mentioned during the movie, it's like, back into a corner.
Yeah, literally, you're right next to the entrance that you just came from. You know that nobody can open that door.
Yep.
So just get your back right on that wall, and then wait for any movement that you can possibly see in front of you. It ultimately doesn't matter because
probably wouldn't have saved her.
It's like knockout gas.
But it's better than what she did do.
Yeah, it's better than what she did, running and walking around and spinning around.
And she gets knocked out. She's going to wake up in a trap. This was a brutal one.
This one was a rough one.
I don't know if I could have done this one.
I don't think I could have. No.
There's a machine that is going to pour hot wax onto her face and suffocate her. The only way to stop it is there's a blade behind her neck and she has to sever her own spinal cord. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's I don't even know how you could even do that with because you don't look like you have
your neck back and forth. Oh man. Yeah, and the line is you can't walk away from this. You can survive. It's like, oh my god.
Like, that's terrifying.
And the reason she was chosen again is she covered up a lot of the cops' stuff. So, she was enabling all this bad behavior.
Just let the cops walk.
Don't be a menace. Rule 4. Mm-hmm. So Zeke's going to get back to the police station. He's got it figured out, like, hey, the captain's in trouble. They get down there. It's too late. She's already dead. And she could not cut her fucking spinal cord in time.
And then she got her face melted off because of it.
Honestly, can't really blame her for not making it out of this trap. I don't think I could have done this.
I don't think I could. Well, I mean, it's weird because, like, the moment that the hot wax hits you, you're going to be deformed in some way. So it's like, well... And then it started the hot wax immediately after the tape ended. And so it was just like, well, I'll be deformed and can't walk. But I don't know, it just seemed like a lot to... There was no time to really think.
Yeah.
It was just more like, well, either get severing or get waxing.
So if you're going to do it, you got to go fast. So again...
All these traps are like, you don't really have a lot of time.
I think he wanted these guys to die.
Yeah. Like, he wanted it to be Jigsaw enough where they had a chance, but it's like... 15 seconds.
Yeah. Run, bitch, run. Cut, bitch, cut. But yeah, I can't really fault her for not making it out of this one. I don't think I could have done it. But yeah, so she's dead. So Zeke does some investigating, and it turns out the cameras got turned off for like 13 minutes. Well, who can access that? Cops. So he checks the list of people who accessed that system that day. One of them was Pete, who is not a cop anymore. He's an ex-cop. Hey guy. So that's suspicious. How did Pete get in the system? And why was he turning the cameras off? So Zeke goes to find Pete at the church, and he's calling his dad. Still can't get a hold of his dad. Distracted by all of this. Rule number 2, constant vigilance. Zeke is grabbed by Pighead.
Yeah, just as he's leaving the church.
Broad daylight, too.
Yeah, broad daylight. A lot of these can't happen in just, like, broad daylight.
Yeah. Which Zeke mentions earlier, you can get away with a lot in the day. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
So Zeke wakes up in... It's like a glass bottle... breaking room. It's like a machine that like shatters glass bottles and turns it on to glass and like melts it down. I don't know what that's called.
I would believe to like make sand or something.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Not sure.
Yeah.
Zeke is handcuffed to a pipe. He is given a hexa. Oh my! And then the classic Saw music is like dun dun dun.
Just very gently in the background.
Oh, chills.
I know, it was nice. I was like, this is a nice little homage here.
Yeah. Luckily, he's also given a bobby pin, so he can just like pick the handcuffs and he's done. Because Sheck does not want Zeke to actually like go through a trap. Like,
yeah,
that's not his plan because he's a good cop. Also in the room is Pete. Pete is chained up, and this glass machine is going to start firing shards of glass at 1 billion miles per hour.
Yeah.
This trap's insane.
Yeah, I would never. Do you know how many? So like we saw all the bits of like actual glass, but I couldn't stop but thinking about the tiny microscopic shards of glass that you can't see.
You'll never get it out.
And yo, it was so much. It was just like it would have been all over your body. It would have been just an awful thing to go through. That would have been. Oh my god, that would have been so bad.
So Zeke, his choice is like, hey, you can save him or not. He doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve it, but you can save him if you want to.
So all these glass shards are flying out of this machine and horrible. This probably, I don't know if this is probably the most graphic trap of the movie. Maybe besides the fingers. I don't know. It's between those two.
It's definitely between these two, yeah.
But Zeke figures out where the key is. It's just in a trash can, and he can unlock him, and he tries to, but it's too late, Pete.
It's too late.
So Pete, maybe if you hadn't killed an innocent man...
Yeah, or at least, be thorough and make sure that there's no one else living in the apartment. I mean, if you want to go that route.
But rule number 4, don't be a menace for Pete. And we don't know how he got captured. And he had no control over the trap itself. This was Zeke's trap.
Yep. This was his test.
It was his test. And he technically failed the test because Zeke was supposed to let this guy die. Mm-hmm. But, he didn't because he's a good cop.
Yep.
But as Zeke's leaving the room, he's taking shards of glass out. And you shouldn't do that.
No, that is a big no-no.
You need to leave that in.
I wrote down big no-no on the removing of the glass shard, especially when it was on your inner forearm.
Yeah.
Where some expensive veins are.
Yeah, because if you sever one of those, pulling that out, or if it is already severed, it's holding blood in.
Yeah, it's holding it together.
So it's not going to matter for Zeke at all, but it could have easily.
It could have been the death of him.
It could have. Rule 46 is proper wound management, and Zeke does not do that here.
Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left. Yes, I have. Look, it's just a flesh wound.
So Zeke goes upstairs, and here we go. Detective Schenk is here. He's the killer. Yada, yada, yada. We already knew this.
Yep. The big reveal.
Yeah, and this is where we learn all the stuff we already talked about, how Shank did it. He lured Samuel Jackson Marcus to the warehouse by borrowing Zeke's phone earlier in the movie. He texted him like, hey, I got a lead. Come to this warehouse. I need your help. And he goes to help his son. He's being a good dad.
He's being a good dad.
And then we see the flashback. He goes into the warehouse alone. Maybe wait outside for your son before going in. Rule 12, wait for backup.
Yeah, like, I'm so confused why he would just all of a sudden be like, well, my son wants me here, but he's not here. Let me go inside.
Yep. Call in some backup and search the building together.
Yeah. Maybe call your son and be like, hey, where are you?
But as he's going through the warehouse, he's got a gun at least, he finds a message like, oh, let's play a game, Chief Banks. Oh, you want to play games, motherfucker? I'll play a game. Goddamn!
Yeah, Sam L. with the line of the movie.
Oh, it's so good.
I'll play games, motherfucker. It's excellent. It's peak Sam L.
Yes. But he, of course, gets distracted when he finds the killer's lair, and he gets captured. Rule 2, constant vigilance. It's the same story, this whole fucking movie.
Yeah, a lot of newbies.
Yeah.
In this one.
Be better. Constant vigilance, wait for backup. That is the movie.
Don't be a menace.
Yeah, that too. So Detective Shank wants Zeke to team up with him. Hey, Zeke, you will find all the dirty cops. I'll handle the rest. Zeke's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if this was him like actually agreeing or if it was him just trying to say what he needed to get his dad out.
I think it's the second one.
I think it was that.
Rule 55, connect with the villain.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought, because he didn't even hesitate. He was just like, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, go along with it. Mm-hmm. It's, why not? Let's see. You got to wait for your opportune moment to do something about it. So might as well just string him along. Shank, he calls 911 and fires his gun 4 times. Now there's only 1 bullet left in the gun because Marcus had fired a shot earlier.
1 + 2 + 2 + 1.
Yes, I appreciate the clue reference. So he calls 911. He's like, "Oh, there's a crazy man at the building. Get over here now!"
He's shooting everywhere.
And they're gonna send a SWAT team over. And Shake's like, "Okay, come with me. Let's do this. Your final test." Brings in Zeke to the final room where Marcus Samuel Jackson is strung up and he's getting the blood drained out of him.
Yeah, in a very elaborate trap.
And why this is happening is Marcus, when he was chief, he implemented this system called Article 8, which gave cops extra powers, basically. And that's why the cops were allowed to be so dirty in the previous years, because Samuel Jackson and then the captain
authorized the use of it.
So, all these other cops did these bad things, but only because the people at the top allowed them to do it. So, Shank blames Marcus for what happened. So, he gives Zeke the gun with 1 bullet. And he's got to make a choice. He could shoot Shank and just end all this, but Samuel Jackson bleeds out. Or he fires at a target, which will release Samuel Jackson, or will allow Shank to get away. That's the choice. And eventually Zeke's going to, save his dad.
Yeah. Seems like Rule 22, take the shot.
Yeah.
I mean, if that was the whole goal, was to save his dad, I mean, I don't really know why it took him so long to...
And one thing we should mention, they're all familiar with Jigsaw. This is a copycat. Rule 21, learn from past events. You have to assume that if someone has studied Jigsaw this much, there's always a game within the game. Mm-hmm. So shooting Shank probably had some horrible ramifications that he just couldn't predict.
It probably did.
So go the safe route, and that's what Zeke does, which I respect. Plus, you got to save your dad. It's your dad.
It's true.
I would save my dad over shooting the serial killer.
Oh yeah. I think anybody would.
Yeah. Oh, one thing, while all this is happening, Shank set up a little wire on the big metal door to this room.
He booby-trapped it.
He booby-trapped it. And then he's walking over to the elevator to get away, and Zeke attacks him. Zeke's just beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, really taking the upper hand to him.
SWAT team shows up, and they start cutting their way into the building, and they sever this wire. And throughout this entire movie, we've seen this puppet. And it's not Billy the Puppet, it's something brand new. It is a pig dressed as a cop. Mm-hmm. And it's a marionette. And when they sever this wire, it turns Samuel Jackson into a marionette. All these wires.
He hoists him up.
Yep. Turns him into a little puppet. And it turns out Samuel Jackson's got some guns attached to his arms. So when the SWAT team comes in, they see a man standing there with a bunch of guns. And they just open fire.
Yeah, they shred him to waste.
Rule 22, take the shot. I do not blame these guys at all.
Of course not. No. I don't blame it at all. And I blame Samuel for not being like, hey, no. Yeah. But what are you going to do in that situation?
Maybe if he hadn't allowed all these dirty cops to do their thing, if he hadn't been a menace, he wouldn't be here.
You would think.
Rule 4, don't be a menace. So Samuel Jackson gets shot and killed by the cops.
Mm-hmm. Brutally.
And obviously Zeke is distracted by this. So it gives Shank enough time to get in the elevator and get away. So he escapes. He gets out, but the movie ends with Shank escaping and Zeke go, no! But much more dramatically.
Much more dramatically.
And that is the end of Spiral. I'm really hoping we get a sequel.
I am too. I think it will happen because, I mean, how could you not?
How can you not?
I mean, we've had, 9 now?
Yeah.
8?
Let's get Chris Rock back. Let's do this. This was fun. So, really fun movie. I don't have any new rules, though. It's kind of a lot of stuff we've seen before.
Yeah.
So, let's get in some awards, huh?
I like it. I like that.
First, we have the Randy Meeks Merit Badge, which goes to the character who did the best job at following the rules. This is, of course, based off Randy from Scream.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
Oh, my God. This is, like, impossible.
Yeah, this is, I mean, could you probably say Chris Rock?
But even he gets himself captured, and the only reason he survives is because he's not a menace.
I suppose that is true.
Guy. I have my idea is the SWAT team, because they get called out to this crime, and they go in together as a group.
That is true. They do.
Not alone.
They do that. They pretty much do everything by the book.
Yep. They cut their way in. They shoot the supposed crazy man. It's they walk into a trap. It's not really their fault. Man had a gun. It's just unfortunate. But they do the things by the book, unlike every other character in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if there's another character that does anything by the book. Like, is there?
No. So I think we just give it to the SWAT team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a better pick, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't really.
Everybody kind of sucked in this movie. So then we have Night of the Living Pleb, which goes to the character who did the worst job at following the rules. And this, of course, based off Barbara from The Night of the Living Dead, the worst movie character of all time.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Stop it! You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
We have so many choices.
Oh my God, we have so many choices.
A lot of them made the same ones, too. So who is the least forgivable for getting captured? Because, like, the guy at the beginning, Boswick, I think we can toss him out because he didn't know there was a serial killer on the loose yet. We can toss him out.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can toss out the captain because she was at the police station. So I'm kind of leaning towards Detective Fitch because he was one of the biggest menaces of the bunch. But then he was with his partner, actively chose to split up from her and then go meet this meth head and get killed.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where you're coming from with that because, yeah, he definitely had a bigger role to play in his demise.
He had the worst excuse for being on his own when he got captured.
Yeah, well, there was no reason for them to split up.
His goal, he was going to go kill Benny. Poor Benny.
Poor meth head Benny.
So I'm thinking Detective Fitch. What do you think?
I am fine with that. Like, they're all so terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like pick your choice. But yeah, I like those reasons.
The worst of the worst.
The worst of the worst.
Detective Fitch. All right, so Detective Fitch is the Night of the Living Pleb, and he's not so living anymore.
No, he is not.
Good riddance. And that's Spiral.
That's Spiral. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. We're done with the Saw series for the second time.
Again. I can't believe it.
Also, whenever the next Saw movie comes out, you'll be back.
I will be right here waiting and cannot wait to get back on this podcast.
So Spiral is off the wheel now because we're done.
Yep.
So going on in its place is Tremors.
Ooh.
Yeah. Tremors series is finally going on the board. I'm excited. We got 7 movies to talk about there. Hell yeah. I love Tremors.
Tremors is a great series.
The first one is basically perfect, and the rest of them are at least fun.
Yeah.
So I love that series. We have 7. The Tremors is on the wheel. Right now on the wheel, we have the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, part 2 of the It miniseries, Leatherface, which is the 8th movie in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, Tremors, Bride of Chucky, Leprechaun Origins, The Exorcist: The Beginning, and the Friday the 13th remake. Those are our 8 movies. Jake, go ahead and spin the wheel. The Spiral. All right, and that is Leatherface. That is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 8.
Leatherface.
Which is an okay movie. It's very similar to The Devil's Rejects. I think that's...
It is. It's really similar, actually.
It's okay. It's different.
Serviceable.
It's serviceable. There's better Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. There are far, far worse.
But wait here and stick around for the podcast to know what we think about it.
So Jordan Ryan will be back for Leatherface. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I can't promise it'll be fun, but it'll be a time.
It will be a time had.
Jake, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. Always a pleasure. And in person.
In person, yeah, we were in person this time. It's been a while since we've done that. Do you want to give out any social media or plug anything?
I don't really do a whole lot of social media things these days.
Good for you.
So, sadly, probably not this time, but maybe next time I will. Who knows?
Okay, sounds good.
But anyway, make sure you guys like, subscribe. That's more of a YouTube thing, but do what you do on and make sure you give this guy all your support.
We appreciate it.
He does a lot of work here.
I definitely appreciate it. You can follow us on Twitter at HowToHorror. Give us 5-star reviews on your podcatcher of choice. You know the usual. You listen to this by now. If you're listening to the Spiral podcast, I'm sure you heard the first 8 Saw podcasts.
Yep, the diehards.
Yep, you've heard it by now. All right. Anything else, Jake?
Stay spooky, Stacy.
Stay spooky. All right, I like it. All right, this has been the How to Survive a Horror Movie podcast. Stay safe out there.